Welcome back to the channel, YouTube. Today we're going to be talking about Elden Ring and how to beat the end game boss Radagon and the Elden Beast. And just like that, he is dead.
Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. They call me
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Winks here. Like I said in the beginning of the video, we are going to be discussing Elden Ring and how to beat the end game boss Radagon and the Elden Beast. If you haven't already, go ahead and click that like and subscribe button if you're new to the channel, and feel free to drop any comments down below. The video breakdown is going to go like this. So first I'm going to show you the gear that I use, then I'm going to show you the spells that I use, then I'm going to show you the mixed physique that I use, and then lastly I'm going to show you the great rune that I use. Just a quick housekeeping note real quick. My returning subscribers already know this, but if you're new to the channel and you just happen to stumble across this video by accident or whatever, for your convenience, I always put timestamps down below if you're trying to get to a quick answer. But just understand that I like to be very thorough in my videos and include a lot of details a lot of times. So if you do that, you run the risk of missing some important details. But either way, the option is there for you. Also, as a second housekeeping note, since I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to lay these videos out for the Elden Ring series, I'm going to mention some of these items and equipment during the video, and in order to cut down on some of the time, I'm not going to show you where and how to get those specific items. I'm going to assume that you've already gotten to this point and you already have some of that stuff. But for those of you that don't, if you may be missing a certain piece or whatever, there's a nice little link that I'm going to place down in the description below, which is basically an interactive map that was created by someone else. So shout out to that person. That will help you in finding these items. It's essentially just the volume 1 of the guide that's been created as an interactive map, and I found it very helpful when going through this game. Okay, so let's jump right into this. So as you can see here on the screen, I've pulled up my equipment, and I'm just gonna go through and show you what I use when I'm fighting this bastard, because he is very difficult to beat. So the first thing I use for my weapon in my right hand is my blasphemous blade, and it is fully upgraded to level 10. And since we're talking about weapons on this game, the one thing, if you've watched anybody else that talks about this game, or you've read either of the guides that were written by the developers, the most important thing about Elden Ring is not necessarily your level, because I've seen in comments where a lot of people kind of bash YouTubers for, you know, showing them things, and they're like, oh, you're level 300, that's easier said than done. You need to understand, if you haven't played this game in Elden Ring, it is not necessarily your level. Your level does help, but the most important rule of thumb for Elden Ring, and this has been proven by a guy that went through this game and beat the entire game at level 1, is your weapon level. And if you have volume 1 of the guide, you know this because it's written in there. Each section of the map on this entire game, you have to, there's a recommended weapon level for each area on this game. And when you end up here to the end game boss, it's recommended that your weapon is fully upgraded. So no matter what weapon you're using, which there are some recommendations, but no matter what weapon you're trying to defeat him with, it needs to be fully upgraded. And I have here the blasphemous blade. And the reason I have the blasphemous blade is because if you read volume 2, Radagon's main weakness is fire damage. He has a somewhat of a resistance to strike, so that's your second best choice, but his overall weakness is against fire. Anything else, you're going to struggle against Radagon. I'm not saying it's not possible, but you are going to struggle a little bit more with any other type of weapon against him, so I recommend a fire weapon. Now, the next thing I have is the finger seal, again, fully upgraded. For my incantations, those are just to support my spells that I use, which I'm going to go over shortly. but I have that on my other hand. As far as my gear, there is no strategy to my gear other than if you look on the screen under the damage and negation column, these particular items have the highest holy negation in their class. So for my headgear, this great hood has the highest holy negation. The Crucible Tree armor has the highest holy negotiation. The Godskinned Apostle bracelets have the highest holy negation, and then the Godskin Apostle trousers have the highest holy negation. So you could probably find, if you go through volume 2, it has a nice list of all the gear and all these stats that you can kind of tabulate and look, which is what I did. I created an Excel spreadsheet and just filtered everything by holy in the highest order. I started from the highest value, and it chalked up some of these pieces of armor, so I didn't have to go through the book and do it as much. But these are what you're going to want specifically for the holy negation. Now you can find some other ones that are close to this, but you're going to have to weigh your options, because you also have to consider the weight. So that's what I have for the armor. As far as my talismans, basically the main idea here is to focus on my blasphemous blade and increasing the damage that I'm going to be doing with that, because we're going to be spamming the ability for the blasphemous blade when we go in here. So the first thing is the fire scorpion charm, which adds to the fire attack, and then I have the Godfrey icon, which enhances the skills in your spells. Then I have the Shard of Alexander, which greatly boosts the attack power of skills. And then I have the Ritual Sword Talisman, which raises the attack power when your HP is maximum. Now, these are all not necessarily required. I've seen people beat him with other setups, right? But this is the setup that I have. And as far as my equipment or my items, I just have 9 charges allocated to HP and 5 allocated to my FP tiers here. And then for my summon, I use the Black Knife Tiche, which is very good because this is actually one of the top recommended summons listed in volume 2. There's a handful of them. There are some that are recommended over others, but this one is recommended because it jumps around a lot and it keeps the boss's attention and dodges attacks a lot better. It likes to poke at the bosses, which is very helpful at keeping it distracted, so I can just spam that ability over and over with that blasphemous sword. Also, I have a rune arc, which is going to be used to activate my great rune, which I'm also going to go over. Okay, so moving on to the spells now. I use 4 when I go into this fight, and I'm going to, you'll see when I do the demonstration after I go over all this stuff, that I use these prior to walking into the door to fight Radagon. So the first one is Flame Grant Me Strength, which basically just boosts your physical and fire attack power, because again, the whole strategy is to just go in here with as much fire damage as possible and blast him. The next one is Golden Vow. Now this increases attack and defense for yourself and allies. However, I'm not going to be casting this in the battle, or I'm going to try not to. But if I had, it would also boost the damage of my summon. The next thing that I'm going to use is Lord's Divine Fortification, because it, as you can read here on the right, greatly increases holy damage negation from myself and allies. The last one I have on here is the Lord's Heal, just as a backup in case I, run out of flasks and get hit too many times and I'm trying to stay alive. Now, key note about this setup here is these two, Flame Grant Me Strength and Golden Vow, they do stack on top of each other. Now for the Wondrous Physick mix, again, just like I said with the spells, the main strategy here is to just go in here and blast this fool. So I have the Flame Shrouding Crack tier, which temporarily boosts fire attacks, and then I have the Opaline Bubble tier, which will help me stay alive. Now this here, keynote for this thing is that this is only good for one time, so you're still going to have to, dodge and try to anticipate his attacks, but this is like, kind of like a get out of jail free card or something like that. That's the key idea here. The last thing I want to show you from my setup right now is the Great Rune that I chose, and as you can see from the screen here, I chose Millennia's Great Rune. The whole thinking process behind this was I needed something for sustainability because I had already devoted so many of my slots and items and stuff to attack power. You could probably swap this out for Godric's Great Rune, which is great for newer players because it helps to raise your attributes, but I went with Millennia's Great Rune, as you will see in the next demonstration. So I'm going to try my best to do these in one recording, but these are essentially 2 fights back to back with no in between. So we'll see how this goes. Activate everything, and then I'm gonna refill my FP flask there, and then I'm gonna go in here. So there is a small break of time when you first start to quickly activate your Tiche. That's what I'm gonna do first to try and get his attention away from me. Alright, so got Tiche out, refilled my flask, he's got his attention. Hopefully Tiche can keep it, which it doesn't look like he's keeping it very well. Stay away. And he is tearing me a new one. And he is down. Down for the count. Refill my flasks, and then we'll start the second part. Part 2. Well away. I have died from this thing so many times, it is not even funny. This is when Divine Fortification comes in handy. Don't get caught in that circle. So what you want to do is run away. Jump over and get away. Tiche is over here getting stomped. So that's good. Better him than me. And just heal, and do a lot of healing. Lots of healing. And blast. Run away. Run away. Here comes the ring again. Run and jump, run and jump, run and jump. Hit that Divine Fortification one more time and run away. Good thing I did. Hit him again. Keep hitting him. And just like that, he is dead. Now, the Elden Beast is a lot more difficult than the first half, but you can absolutely do it with that setup that I showed you. So for today, that's it, fellas. I just wanted to show you how to beat the Elden Beast because he is one of the tougher enemies in this game. Now, I am not going to act like I am an expert in Elden Ring because I have died so many times in this game. However, if you are new to Elden Ring and you have never played this like me, I kind of slept on this game. This is one of the best games that I have ever played because it is so challenging. So if you have not played it or you are interested in it, I highly recommend that you pick this game up. I experienced so many emotions while playing this game. There are so many times that I wanted to just break something when playing this game, but it is also very rewarding when you play it. And a lot of people that play Elden Ring know exactly what I'm talking about. But that's it today, guys. So in summary, what we talked about was I showed you all the gear that I used, all the spells that I used, the physique and the great room. Just kind of showed you my setup, and then I went in and demonstrated to you how to beat him using that setup. Once it's all said and done, you come here to the end and you can initiate one of any ending that you have unlocked. And I believe there are 6 in this game. I have to go back and look through the guide, but I think there's about 6 of them. So that's it, guys. I hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Winks out.